So now that we've taken a look at our decision for what forms package we're going to use inside our application, let's first of all take a look at our application at the moment and see what we've currently got. Now we can create an activity, and this gives us our basic form, and we're handling the changes inside our activity form with an onChange event handler. And we've also got just a text input for our category. We want to change this. For a select input, we want this to be a proper date widget that works across all browsers and not just the one that we have here that really only works with Chrome. And what we also want to do is create some reusable form fields that we can use across any form inside our application. So it makes the creation of forms a lot easier. And if we just take a look and make sure that we can actually manage an activity, and we didn't actually hook up the link in our manage event button, so let's just change that and head to our activity details page. And what we want to do is inside the activity detailed header is we want to add our link to the button here. So what we'll do, we'll say the button as equals link and just bring that in from React Router, and we'll say to, and then we'll add the backticks / and manage and / activity.id. And if we go back and take a look and just refresh, it's given us an error here, but I'm not entirely sure why this is giving us a particular error, because we should have access to our activity ID at this stage. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to restart my client application. It looks like the TypeScript compiler's complaining about something it shouldn't be complaining about. So I'm just going to make sure that persists after a restart. And the error's gone. Sometimes the compiler just gets stuck. So if you do see something like this, then please make sure that if you restart your client application, you don't run into that particular problem. So if we click on Manage Event, we can now see the link is available. And we see our activity popping in there. We're not going to worry about the date at this stage. We're going to change this into a proper date widget. But what we need to do first of all is get our form package installed into our application. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to open up a new tab inside my terminal window. I'll cd into the client app, and the forms package we're using is final form. So I'm going to say npm install, and it's React final form, and this relies on final form itself, so we'll also need to install this and press return, and this goes ahead and installs these two packages. Now the version of final form is 4.16.1 and React Final Form is on 6.3.0. So let's take a look at how we can actually use this then, and we'll just pick on one particular input field inside our activity form just now. So I'm going to open up the activity form, and what we're going to do is we're going to just update our title field for now, just to make sure that Final Form or React Final Form is actually working as expected. So I'm just going to head up to my imports and just manually import what we need here, because React Final Form exports form as form, and we're already using form from Semantic UI React. So we'll need to use a different name for this, and I'll say from React Final Form. And what we want to do here is bring in form as final form, so that we don't conflict with the form import we have up here. And what we also need inside here is to bring in the React Final Form field. And the first thing we need to do is wrap Final Form around our Semantic UI form. And let's scroll down. So inside the segment, I'm just going to add another new component, and this is going to be Final Form. And we'll just close this, and what we need to do here is it's got a required property. We need to give it the onSubmit, and what we'll do for now is we'll just create another handler, and instead of handle submit, we'll just create a const handle final form submits. And this receives the values from the form, and this will just be an any property, or a type of any. And we'll just console.log what we get in the values when we submit the form. So in the on submit, we'll need to give this the handle final form submits, and then we need to pass in a render prop and give it our actual form. So we'll use render equals, and what we want to do in here is final form can pass a handle submit property to our render property here. So what we'll do is we'll destructure that, and inside this curly brackets, I'll add the handle submit, and inside our render prop, we'll cut and paste our entire form and put it inside here. So I'll get the form into the clipboard, the whole thing, and just paste it inside the render. Now our handle submits, this was referring to the handle submit we're using here, and this is faded out now because it's no longer in use, because it's being overridden by the handle submit we're getting from our render. So what I'll do, just to be super clear on this, that we're not actually using this, I'm just going to comment this out, and what we'll do is we'll just use our handle final form submit to see what's going on as we build our form. We won't worry about submitting anything to the server until we've got every field set up and we're validating every field, and then we'll hook it up back to our API. So now we've got our handle form submit methods. Let's change one of our inputs into a field, a final form field instead of a form input. So I'll just change this to field, and we no longer need our onChange event because this is going to be handled by React Final Form now. And the only thing we need to give our field is the components that we're using here. Now, eventually this will be our own custom components, but for now we'll give it an input as its component. And what we should be able to do is go and test that we can use our new React Final Form component. So let's go across to our browser, and we can see our styling is messed up, but that's fine. I'm just going to create an activity, and I'll stick with the create activity to demonstrate this. And if we take a look at our console, we're going to see some warnings as we go through this because I've commented out our handle submit methods. We won't worry about those, and we'll fix them later. But if I just type in test and then click submit, we can see that we're getting our value output into our console. So our handle final form submits is working, and our field is working. And rather using the field as it is now with specifying the input, we still want our semantic UI styling for our fields. So what we'll do is we'll create our own custom components that we can use throughout our application. And we'll start to take a look at that next, and we'll start with the most straightforward one, which is going to be our text input field.